welcome back to Gifted Guitars. My name's Chris. Today we're working on this guitar for my sister Rachel. Last time she actually came and helped out. So if you haven't checked out that video yet, go check it out. But today we are going to paint it and lacquer it and make it all purdy. We're going for a purple look, and I'm gonna try a new paint stain thing that I've never tried before. So first thing to do is undo everything that Rachel and I did and take the whole thing apart and sand it down. I actually sanded out the inside of these pockets here. Normally you don't sand these out. It's kind of a waste of time because it's gonna get covered up with pickups anyway. But since it's made of the same wood, this way I can test out two different painting techniques inside each pocket and see how it ends up looking. It's such a beautiful grain on this guitar that I want that to kind of show through it a little bit. This had very high reviews on Amazon. It is called Unicorn Spit Purple Hill Majesty Purple. So I have to go through and figure out what the best method is. Shake before using. Create masterpieces on wood, glass, metal. I'm not gonna read all of them because wood is all I need to know. The exquisite jasmine scented vibrant color. Oh, I didn't realize I was getting an olfactory experience here. Test small area before use. Way ahead of you on that one, Unicorn Spit. So I'm gonna test it with the paintbrush and the airbrush. And one pocket will be the paintbrush, one pocket will be the airbrush. Smells like old lady soap. I did not like the way that this purple turned out. I don't think it looks right. If you look close, you can kind of see how messy that looks. It doesn't look like a stain like the way a stain should look, in my opinion. So I decided not to use the Unicorn Spit. Maybe I'll use this for something else later if I want sort of that kind of look, but I don't want it on a guitar. The guitar, I want it to look like I knew what I was doing when I did it, and that sort of looks like I used finger paint. But I still want this guitar to be purple, so I did a bunch of research online, and I found that people use leather dye on guitars and use that to stain guitars. So I'm gonna try that on Rachel's guitar. I actually had some scrap wood from JoJo's guitar, which was kind of the same type of wood, and you can kind of see the colorations the same, and so I tested it out, and it looked okay. It looks all right. It has this sort of like copper tone to it. Like every once in a while, if the light hits it a certain way, it's sort of coppery. I didn't really like that, so what I tried was some sanding sealer, and when I put it on top of sanding sealer, this is darker than I had imagined it being, but it looks cool. I think it's gonna look really good, especially with the gold highlights. I think they'll really pop on this, and it'll have this rich sort of purple look to it. The other thing is that with all the other guitars, I've had a hard time getting the texture right. The guitars were never smooth. And I really want this guitar, since it's such a simple build, I'm not doing anything super fancy to it. I want to make sure that the finish on this is like absolutely perfect. I'm gonna spend a bunch of extra time sanding it, really getting it sanded well. That being said, even though I've sanded this guitar a little bit, I want to sand it down even more and really get any imperfections out of the guitar before I even stain it. All right, it is a new day, and I wanted to show you something that I worked on just a little bit off camera here. So I made these handles, and this way I'm gonna be able to paint it a little differently. I'll be able to like grab this and move it around and be able to get all sides of the guitar a little better, because I noticed in my other guitars that the bottom of the guitar was a little light on paint and lacquer. So not gonna be a problem this time because I can turn the guitar super easily and maneuver it around with these kind of handle paddle things. And I made one for the body, and I also made one for the neck of the guitar. So now all I have to do is mask this off and it's ready to spray. It is a few days later now, and this has had many coats put on it, and I just want to say that first off, I love the shape of this guitar. I love an SG guitar. This is such a cool shape. It's very Rachel, I feel like. I don't know why I feel like it's very Rachel, but it looks very Rachel to me. I love the way the grain pops now that it's been sealed up like this, so I just think it looks super cool. It's a really cool guitar. And that's part of the reason I wanted to stain this guitar instead of paint it, is I wanted the grain to show through. I want a purple guitar. Purple's Rachel's favorite color, and you don't see very many purple guitars out there, especially ones where you can see the wood grain through it. I hope this works out. I hope it looks good and that Rachel ends up liking it in the final reveal. Right now I'm gonna level sand it. We'll see how it goes. So when I tested this on a spare piece of wood, it was pretty intense stuff. Like, I'm definitely gonna be wearing gloves and a respirator. I don't wanna be breathing this. Anyway, I've never done a stain like this on the guitar before, so it's gonna be a learning process. Hopefully I don't mess up the guitar. You know, standard business here on Gifted Guitars. That really didn't work out the way I wanted it to. I mean, it looks like I colored it in with a marker. Like, it just doesn't look very good at all. So, I mean, there's a cool color in here. I can see it, it's there, but it just looks so sloppy. So I don't know what the solution is. I'm taking a second and thinking about it. I'm gonna let it dry overnight. Tomorrow I'm gonna sand it and see if sanding it kind of clears up any of the stain issues that I'm having here. I don't know if it will, but there's like kind of drippies. Like right here you can kind of see some drippies. You can kind of see some drippies here too. It's one of those disappointing moments where you're like, I know what this is gonna look like in your head, and then it doesn't look that way. So I'll see you guys in the morning. We'll see what happens. It is the next day, and there is a color in here that I really like. Like, there's little accents in here that are really, like, it's such a cool color purple. It just looks like streaky and weird. Ultimately, I probably will paint over all of this, but I don't want to give up on it quite yet. First, I want to sand it and see what that looks like. Then I want to stain it again after I've sanded it, and then I'm going to sand it one more time. And if any of those stages I go like, oh, that's it, that's what I want it to look like, then I'll stop. If the guitar that I want to happen doesn't appear somewhere in there, then I'll paint over all of it. Sorry about the noise, the air conditioning's going. The rest of the house is feeling the benefits of that. Not so much here in the garage, but we do get the fun buzzing sound. Anyway, I've been sanding this. It does have like a kind of a cool distressed look, like especially through the camera. In person, it's not as nice. That's not the look we're going for here. So I actually, like, the more I mess with it, the more I kind of like the way it looked before. So here's what I'm gonna do. Get more aggressive with the sanding, really sand it down. Try and do a light staining again. If that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna spray paint the whole thing metallic purple. But for now, I wanted to give it one last college try and bring out the power sander, because it's about time we use some power tools. Alright, hi everyone, I got a haircut, thanks for noticing. I've sanded this down a lot, and so now it's pretty much back to where we started when I first got the kit. And as you'll notice, I have a glove on, which means I'm gonna start doing some dyeing. I wanna say something before I get too deep into this. One, a lot of time has passed. I think it was a combination of being frustrated with the guitar and all the other responsibilities I have, having a newborn and 4 other kids. So I haven't really had a chance to work on the guitar for a while. It's kind of just been sitting in the garage. But I did wanna say something, because a lot of people ask how I learned to do the things that I'm doing with the guitars, how I don't get frustrated when things don't turn out the way I want them, or that they don't like doing art projects because they get frustrated when things don't turn out the way that they envision them. And I feel all of that. Like, I totally can sympathize with you if that is you. If you feel like, oh, I can't draw because every time I draw it looks terrible or whatever. But I will say this, the one thing about art is not that it's perfect. It is that you do it. Because a lot of art projects turn out differently, like they take on a life of their own as you work on them. So I don't know how this guitar is gonna turn out in the end. It might not be stained. I'm gonna try staining it one more time. It might not turn out that way. And if it doesn't, I'm fine with that. This guitar needs to be a different kind of guitar, and that's fine. That being said though, I'm gonna try a different technique with staining, try and do a really, really light coat on it, then brush it down with some steel wool, see if that works. If it doesn't, we're moving on to phase something. I think it worked out way better this time, but I did want to point something out that I'm learning from this guitar. Anytime I have a problem, I want to learn something, and I think the thing that I learned the most from this particular problem is look at the neck. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera because I'm seeing it in real life and I'm looking through the little viewfinder. It looks kind of bluish in the viewfinder, but it is this is the color purple that I wanted. It's purple. I'll try and figure out a way of color correcting it right now. So this, I've color corrected it. I look weird, but this looks correct. My point is, this is made of maple. That is made of some other kind of wood. I didn't know, I didn't look into it. I have no idea what kind of wood that is. And that is my takeaway from this particular project. I need to know what wood I'm using, what it does, what its functions are. I haven't throughout all the guitars, and I know it's a super important thing, but I was learning things little steps at a time, and now, after this guitar, I'm gonna pay way more attention to what kind of wood I'm using, because this is, I think, maple, and maple stains a lot better than whatever that is over there. At any rate, this looks really nice, and I'm gonna try and use some steel wool on it and some steel wool on that, and see if I can get it to look even better, and then I think I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm good with this. Or not, I don't know. It's art. Okay, it's close. It still looks a little messy, and I think there's a way I might be able to clean it up with another experiment. I'm feeling very experimental right now. I have this cherry red lacquer left over from the Weiss guitar. I'm gonna hit it with this really quick and see if it fills in any of the gaps. This might be a terrible idea. I don't have an extra piece of wood to test it out on, and we'll see if I make a horrible mistake or not. All right, we're getting somewhere maybe. I like the way this looks. Oh, and it actually kind of looks like this in real life. I'm looking in the viewfinder and that's kind of the color that it is. And the guitar has its own little look and they don't totally match up. This is far brighter and more vibrant than the guitar itself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and make it look like that's on purpose. I'm gonna use another technique that I used on the Weiss's guitar, which was sort of this sunburst style. And I'm only gonna do it on the neck to start and check it out and see if it looks good and then move on to the guitar. But I might not even put it on the guitar. It might just be like, this is what the neck looks like. It looks different on purpose. You know? So I'm gonna take some gloss black and I'm going to try and gently mist the sides, top and bottom of the neck of the guitar, and hopefully it'll look really nice and blend into the body of the guitar, which is a lot darker than the neck. Alright, thanks for watching today's episode of Gifted Guitars. Ultimately, that did not work. I don't like the way the guitar looks. But that's okay. I've got a plan, and you'll get to see it next week. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and watch next week's episode where I try and fix Rachel's guitar, because it's not working yet. But it'll get there. Don't you worry. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.